right, here it comes. Episode number motherfucking 14. Ladies and gentlemen, we are the motherfucking DCP. And you know what? We appreciate you guys for being here. Thank you so much. Episode number 14. Thank you guys for liking, commenting, and subscribing. Even if you're fucking just viewing our podcast either here on YouTube, Spotify, or TikTok, or listening on Spotify, rather, we appreciate the shit out of you guys. Thank you so much. We are the up-and-coming motherfucking DCP. What up, chunky boy? I mean, Hyland.
Not much, man. Honestly, just been working out, fucking rise and grind. I'm one of those guys now. Big Chad,
Yeah.
big alpha gamer.
Oh, yeah.
Went for a hike
Chungus?
yesterday. Huh?
You're big chungus now.
I'm a big chungus now.
Nice.
I went for a nice little hike yesterday. It wasn't, it was up a volcano. It's a dead volcano, behind my house, and it's a bitch.
Are all
What?
I'm sorry. Are all volcanoes actually dead?
Well, this
Or,
one's
like,
inactive. Yeah, it's like
When they
closed.
claim them. Oh, okay. But like, there's still magma down below. All right, guys. Sorry, there's probably a little cut in the scene. It's no big deal. We had some technicality difficulties. We'll be good. I think we're good now. Anyway, Chunk. Yeah. So you were saying that you were on a hike.
Mm-hmm.
On a dead volcano, and I asked you if there was still magma down below.
Yeah. See, like I said before, all of our big technicalities issues. I'm not a rockyologist, boy. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what's under there.
Geologist?
Yeah, rockyologist.
Aren't they just geologists?
Well, I mean, that's just a way not as cool name than what I just came up with.
A rockyologist.
Like somebody who studied the movie Rocky.
Oh, there you go. Or actually studies rock and roll.
Oh, I think Jack Black would fit into that.
Jack Black would definitely fit into
School of Rock. Anyways, before we get into a whole nother fucking tangent.
Oh yeah. We went hiking
Yeah. So I did
on a
that.
dead volcano.
Yeah, and it was beautiful. I posted a story on Snapchat. I think you saw it. You can see the whole view of that's like half of the west side of my city. The one.
It was ugly. It was ugly.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, it was
ahead.
quite a fucking hike. I can tell you right now, my gluteus maximus and my gluteus minius hurt like a bitch.
Bro, you got junk in your trunk. What do you mean?
Yeah, I know I got junk in my trunk. And it still hurts. You know how hard it is carrying this junk in the trunk all day?
How hard?
It's fucking hard, James. I tell you what, my shit was sagging on that. No, just kidding. But no, it was really good. So I did that. It was a fucking great hike. It was windy, but it was really nice. So we weren't too hot. Went with my buddy and his girlfriend, and they brought their cute ass dog. And then today I went and helped him do an oil change on his car. We kind of just chilled, ate some fucking food. That was great. But the big kicker of this week is I am as single as a Pringle.
Bro, but Pringles come in big cans with other Pringles.
Yeah, but the other Pringles hate them, hate each other.
They sit in the can and they fucking fight.
They just fight, terribly.
Is that, you think that's why the Pringles at the bottom are always fucking cracked?
Domestic abuse.
Holy shit.
Oh my god, hashtag stop Pringle domestic abuse. Can we get that trending on Twitter and shit?
And canceled.
Yeah.
We don't joke about domestic abuse.
Especially when it comes to Pringles.
No, that's crazy, man. Look, I'm very sorry to hear that, honestly. My heart goes out to you because breakups fucking suck.
Yeah, it is what it is, but it's it's a huge learning. I think we all need to go through it. I'm gonna sound so fucking preachy through this whole thing.
Oh, here we go.
I'm gonna sound so preachy, but no, it's kind of crazy. It's kind of a negative part.
Yeah.
And it's the reason I looked so dead in that podcast, the one before in the intro.
Last week when.
Last week is because like I was figuring out if I was not single or
Mhm.
or single, and
Yeah.
I was kind of in a waiting grace period, I guess, to figure that out. And no.
Right.
And yeah, so like
Yeah,
shit
bro.
sucks.
I hate that when they put you in a waiting room.
That's what it felt like. It felt like I had stage 4 herpetogonosyphilis,
Right.
and they were waiting to
Exactly.
tell me whether they could cure it or not, or even if I had it. Like, and
When
I waited for a week.
and when you knew that all the signs were kind of pointing in the positive direction.
Yeah,
And not like positive as
n-
in like you have
like
the
it's fucked up. Like the
exactly.
situation's fucked.
Yeah.
Like
Oh yeah.
yeah, yeah. So it was kind of like yeah, it was like that. So I was like, tips for people out there: don't fucking do that to your partner. Don't make them wait. Like it's good to think about stuff, but like I don't know. I don't know. Don't put them on a fucking shoestring and just say, okay, well,
Bro, you know what happened with me back in the day, and this isn't like a long-winded story or anything.
yeah,
I always hated that because it made me paranoid up until even like just like now that I'm older, but when I was in high school, and this was like 15 fucking years ago, I
mm-hmm,
know I'm old, but I would have these relationships, and then when, they put you in their life, and then they just take you out, and you go on those 1 to 2 week fucking little like, oh, we're fucking dating, and then we're done, like
yeah.
those quick
It's
little
so.
stints.
Oh,
But at the end of it, like you would really like that person, or they'd
uh-huh.
really like you, and then for like all of a sudden you wake up one day and you're like, or the other party's like, do I really want to be with them? And then they just like kind of ignore you or give you the cold shoulder all day.
Yeah,
And then at the end of the day, they're like, hey, can you think we can talk later? I'll call you. And although they didn't make us wait a week or me a week, they made me wait maybe 5 to 6 hours plus the school hours. So like 12 hours total until they called me later that night. And then just for them to be like, hey, I don't think we should be together. But it's like the entire day I was in that waiting room, and it happened so many times because
yeah,
when you're young, you get in and out of like these
yeah.
quote
No, of
unquote
course.
relationships. But it's fucked up, and it made me so paranoid later in life that, if my girlfriend at the time, let's say 10 years ago when I was 21, they didn't talk to me all day because maybe they were just busy doing their normal day-to-day routines and work.
Yeah, I gave you those thoughts.
And then I'm like, oh, dude, which is fucked up, like I shouldn't automatically refer to it, but
No, but there's so many things that'll like make you insecure.
oh, dude, and it totally fucking did, honestly. And yeah, the waiting room fucking sucks, bro. And I'm sorry that you went through that.
Oh, bro, it's all good. Like I found out some more back, I found out some more information. I was like, well, I didn't even have to be put in that waiting room.
Right.
I'm trying not to say it without saying it.
Uh-huh.
Like a decision was already made and
Right.
kind of just drug me on for a week. And that was
Mm-hmm.
a rough fucking week, dude. I'll tell you what. Like
Bad.
that week, I like, and like, there's good things that like I learned from it, like the whole healthy coping mechanisms and shit. And like,
Yeah.
like you just don't abuse things to cope, like
Yeah,
bad
yeah, yeah.
things. But like, in all
Like
honesty,
heroin.
like, yeah, no, like, like the whole lucid dreaming thing and then waking up, just fucking bawl my eyes out. And I'm just like, why? Why am I doing this? Why? Why am I here? Or go in the fetal position in the shower, just laying there like, fuck me, man. Why? Why? Why did this have to be me? But that's just life, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
we, I kind of think about it. I'm like, there are people going through so much shittier fucking things. Like, yeah, this
Mm-hmm.
sucks, but like, I have tons of shit to be grateful for.
No, yeah, and you do have a bunch of stuff to be grateful for, but at the same time,
It
like
still sucks. The
it
situation still fucking
sucks.
sucks.
And it's not, and I don't think it's fair to anybody for, because you just said like, there's a bunch of other people going through shittier things. It's like, well, yeah, but this is your shitty thing right
Yeah,
now,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it's
No,
okay that
are
it's not
upset
okay that
about
you're
it.
going through it, but it's okay that you're upset about it.
Yeah, and I kind of, it's just weird because you like, when you're so dead set on somebody and you're like, this is the one. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like I knew this person for a very fucking long time. Well, I'd say a pretty
Yep.
long time, right?
Yep.
Um, But you don't really, like, especially over like online, you don't really fucking know somebody because you only get the information they want to feed you.
Right.
Which is
Right.
like something that started like clicking in my brain like really fast. I started thinking about like, past situations. I'm like, for me, like learning somebody for me is watching them how they act in the action, like in the situation.
Right.
I don't really trust what somebody says on how they act because those are just words. I'm more of like an action speak louder than words because it's so easy to say it.
Mm-hmm.
But like it's so hard to do in a hard situation. So like I never got to see that. And so I kind of just put all my trust in like that was the truth in that kind of sense. But like I also just thought about like today's generation of dating is trash. Because like one, people are like, it's like somehow in society weird to be single, right? Like in my generation, I find that like people are in and out of relationships so fast, be just like not based off the stigma of being single, because like that's a shitty thing to be, but like just comfort of somebody.
Wait, being single is not a shitty thing to be.
No, it's not. But like I'm not kidding you. Through high school and through even now, like being single, like being happy and single are not two things that are normalized. You know what I mean?
That 100% agree. I
Yeah.
100% agree.
Which is complete fucking dog shit. Like that's complete bullshit. You can be happy and you can be single.
My previous foreman, he's like a few years older than me. He's like 2 years older than me, rather.
Yeah.
And he's got a family. He's got a couple kids. And you know how guys do, especially on construction sites, they're gonna always give you shit.
Yeah.
But the way he would like to give me shit, or even want me and another guy, like we're single. We were like, we're the only unmarried people on the crew, and he would always give me shit like, oh, look at you, you're single, you're fucking 31, you're single, no kids, like what are you doing with your life? It's like, I'm fucking enjoying my life.
It's my fucking life. Like fuck you.
I don't have fuck off, dude. Like I don't have the stresses of kids. I don't have to worry about all these medical bills or what's gonna happen to my kids, or worry what's happening at their school. Like
if you choose that life, that's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
But don't fucking shit on the other side.
Exactly. There is nothing wrong. So I completely agree that there is kind of a stigma with single, I think just single people in general. And I think, I can't speak for the ladies, but I feel like maybe they have a little bit more pressure almost, because
I do find, sorry to cut you off, I do find girls tend to get in relationships a lot faster than dudes after breakups. That is, I'm not saying this as a statistic or anything. I'm saying this just from pure experience of, I'm sure there are dudes who do that shit too, but like, when a dude really loves a girl, like that's going to be a tough fucking year if they break up. And like, he's most likely gonna go fucking work on himself. I'm not saying girls don't do the same, but just from what I've seen is a girl gets out of a relationship and they are fucking straight back into one. And they're clearly not ready to be. Like, clearly so not ready. It's like a vicious fucking cycle.
Well, and it makes me think, right? Like, if that were to happen, because it's happened to me a couple times, obviously, not a huge deal, but it's weird because if somebody gets out of a relationship and they go immediately, whether like we'll even say up to 2 months is kind of immediate. I feel like
it's really immediate because a relationship is serious.
Days. Right. Well, it's 60 days, right? That's quite a bit of time, but it's also on the spectrum of if you're dating somebody a year plus and you've kind of dated them before becoming official, or you guys were kind of hanging out, getting to know each other before making or giving yourselves titles. You've built this foundation, you've built this relationship together, and then all of a sudden you guys break up, and then 2 months later this other person is dating somebody else. It makes you think, it's like, well, were they talking to other people?
See,
prior to the end of our relationship.
This is why I fucking hate TikTok, is because it'll shove that shit in your head that they were. Because remember, I was telling you, like, I was getting all these sad boy fucking not helpful posts at all when I was just
Right.
like I liked one of them that was like in
Mm-hmm.
between. It was like a quote. I was like, okay, I can get behind that, and then it just flooded my feed with that. And lots of them were saying, and these were girls saying this, and now I'm not trying to
Yeah.
like objectify and say all women are like this at all because it's not true. But there
Right.
were plenty of women on TikTok saying we have a plan B. Excuse me?
Oh God. Oh God.
Excuse me, or girls cheat, they just don't get caught, and they're
Mm-hmm.
laughing about it, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
ooh, why,
Mm-hmm.
why?
But all men are the cheaters.
Like both parties do it to each other.
Oh, of course. Of course.
We'll get that right out of the fucking way. But why would you post that? Why would you fucking say that? Like, it's not even a joke. Like, I don't care what you
Yeah.
say. Like, I believe in satire, humor in the right crowd.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to relationships and like just the information being thrown down your throat on TikTok, that is not a joke. Like, somebody's relationship is not a joke, and you also have no fucking business in that. No, keep in mind it's an open platform where anyone can fucking post majority of what they want.
Right.
But at the same time, why are you posting that? Like, it's so negative. There's no positive. Like, you just give every dude a fucking insecurity. Like, oh my God, does she have a plan B? And you kind of want to ask her, like, but you feel inappropriate and it might start a fight if you ask her. Or like, is she cheating on? Like, it puts these thoughts that weren't there before in your head.
Well, is that look? I mean, a question's a question, right? So let's say you're on a date. I mean, is it inappropriate to ask like, "Hey, are you seeing anybody else?" Is that really inappropriate?
I don't think it's inappropriate, but I could see how one side, the person receiving the question, could feel maybe a little bit unfaithfulness or disloyalty in a sense.
Well,
Like,
and let's
why are
say,
you having these thoughts?
well, and I'm talking about the like just dating. Like, there's no title. You're kind of just dating. I feel like that is a good question, and so long as somebody is
If you respect, like, if you can have
confident,
yeah,
in the answer they're going to receive. Because if I'm dating with dating somebody, not dating with somebody, that's weird. If I'm dating somebody and we just go out for a couple drinks or we go out and like play pool and we hang out, like we're getting to know each other. We're seeing if we are going to be able to be compatible. Because the way I look at relationships now, and I feel like you're probably this way, you don't want to just date to just date
I hate
and
that shit.
fuck. Right.
I
So
absolutely hate that shit.
so you're not going to waste your time. But is it inappropriate for us as men in general, or just anybody, I
Mm-hmm.
suppose, for us to ask the question to our possible partner that we're going out with and say, "Hey, are you dating? Are you actively, dating somebody else, or are you also, hanging out with other people in this way?" Is it wrong?
I don't
Especially
think
if we
it's
can take the
wrong.
answer. Yeah. So like, I feel like I think that's a good question to ask.
It
You
definitely is
know?
a good question to ask, and it kind of is in this generation too. Like,
Right.
because like
Right.
you have people posting shit about this, and it's
Hmm.
like, well, why not? I feel like it's an okay question to ask. I could see how the other side could kind of be like, well, do you not trust me or something? But like at the same time, I don't think it shows any distrust.
Right. Exactly.
I think and although like it, relationships are so tricky. Like it all depends on like both people and their past and like what has
Yeah.
happened, right?
Like, it's definitely not a first date or maybe even a second date type of question. But if you
No,
guys have been hanging out, let's say you guys are, been hanging out quite a bit for like a month or two before ever even thinking about giving yourselves the title. But if things are moving in that direction by the third date, and if you're unsure, I feel like if I'm unsure while I'm dating somebody on like the third or fourth date,
because you want to be sure.
and yeah, exactly. And I'm like, "Hey, are you seeing anybody?" And if she goes, "Well, I was," and then like I wasn't interested, but she's still going out with me, that means she probably feels the same way I do as far as, I think that you and I are moving in a very good direction. And
Yeah,
I think, you're feeling the same way I do, is where I think that you are a possible long-term partner. So if you kick
yeah.
somebody out and you leave me in the equation, I'm you know, as an analogy, like I'm the answer to that equation, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Like
I
like I'm
100%
that
agree with that. Yeah, I 100% agree
you
with
know?
that. Something I also, oh, what did I want to bring up? Oh, I think because there's this vicious cycle of just clinging on to somebody right after a
Hmm.
relationship,
Yeah.
you don't properly get to heal and have time by yourself and like realize like, that you did make mistakes, because everyone's going to make mistakes. That is just the fucking bottom line.
Hmm.
Everyone's going to make a mistake. So you don't really get that time to like think about, well, okay, I made this mistake and maybe this behavior needs to change and like maybe this mindset needs to change, right? I
Right.
don't think people, because of that vicious cycle, I don't think people understand like a long-term relationship is going to have a fuck ton of bumps. And you say that to someone and they go, "Oh yeah, no, I know." But I don't think they really fucking know. I don't think they really understand like, your partner is going to disappoint you. You're going to have a fuck ton of forgiveness. You're going
Right.
to have to give a lot of chances. And like that's kind of the bottom line. It's like whether or not they're worth giving all this to, right?
And are we talking chances like she accidentally broke my PlayStation 5 type shit? Like, okay, well, I'm gonna.
No, we're talking like, and I'm going to exclude cheating because like kind of like cheating's sort of a one and done for me.
I think it is. I think it should be for a lot of people, right?
Yeah, cheating's a pretty one and done thing because it's kind of that's too far. But I mean, like a chance to see a difference in maybe behavior, in a sense. Like, let's say you were in a toxic relationship, right? Before
Mm-hmm.
you started dating someone, and your communication skills are really poor because of
Yeah.
being with that person, and you felt like you can communicate them or
Yeah.
communicate with them. Well, like, you give that person, you're now dating that person who had that very tough past. You kind of have to give them a chance, or multiple chances of like learning how to communicate properly again. You know what I mean? Like if things get
Yeah.
hard and the communication isn't there, you don't just fucking give up. You know?
Yep.
Like I don't think many people fucking understand that. That it's like when it gets super tough, you don't just leave because it's more convenient. Like I don't know. It's just something that's really like it's something that's really frustrating to me. It's like all things like that I learned, like through this last relationship. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
It's just like I kind of, I kind of felt like I was being more of the issue, right? Like it was on my side. But as partners, you got to really look and you got to like really dig and think. Like I'm not saying blame anybody by any means. I'm not saying, well, this is your fault. But I just mean you got to really look and like really see where the issues are and that sort of thing. Because like I don't know if a lot of dudes do this, or I'm sure both parties do it, or whoever is choosing to date one another will like blame themselves. And that was like a huge part for me, is like I was blaming myself like super hard. Like I was like kind of just ripping myself like apart about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I was kind of getting more information and I was starting to look back at things and think, I was like, okay, wait. There was major underlining issues with the way my partner acted, and my one act that caused a fight initially, or an argument initially, wasn't the underlying issue. So again, I'm not blaming anybody, but like you gotta kind of open up. If you're blaming yourself really hard, and if you did a really shitty thing, then like yeah, like you should feel bad. Like it's, you do a shitty thing to anybody, you should feel bad. But you know what I'm saying is don't tear yourself up too hard about it, and like give it some thought where both parties could have improved in a
Right.
sense to work.
Yeah.
um
So wait, let me interject here for a sec,
yeah,
because I feel like a lot of people, and like I would like the answers too, but I feel like a lot of people would want the answer, and I'm not saying that we know the answers, but maybe we can help lead somebody in the right direction. But how many chances is enough? Like I know you said it at the beginning of your spiel here, but if somebody does have bad communication skills from previous relationships and then carries it over to you, and you tell them about it maybe a couple times when shit happens, and you're like, hey, like
Yeah.
I need X, Y, and Z type of communication. And I've asked you a couple times, like, how many chances do you think,
See,
in your opinion, is enough, or it
I
is too many
I
chances?
I don't I don't have like a chance limit. It's whether they're worth to me giving those chances. You know what I mean?
But you're the type of person, right? Like you're a very loving type of person.
Yeah.
So when you're in those relationships and your partner isn't communicating the way you should be, but they do understand every time, if you guys are, let's say, in like a tiny bit of like a little bit of an argument or
Yeah.
whatever, no big deal. And you're like, hey, like mid conversation, you're like, hey, you're not communicating the way I think I need to be communicated with. Um, you're kind of just shutting down. And
Yeah.
in order for us to go forward with this, do you think maybe you can try this? And you're a very forgiving person and a very loving person. That Do you feel like that could go too far, you think, to
Mm,
where you gave them too many? Because if you go, and maybe not you personally, but if one person were to go, let's count them 10 chances of doing that, of asking for this type of communication, and they're not doing it by that 10th time, I mean, do you really think that that partner
yeah, it's going to
is going to
change.
change it?
Yeah, see, um it's such a hard situation because I would say no, but I know in the moment like of like just all the emotions and feelings that I'd probably still go on with it.
Yeah.
But realistically, like I would like to see like if I could see some sort of change, then yeah. Like if I could see even if it was a slow amount of change, then I could say like yeah, okay, this person they are at least like they're trying. Like they're not just shutting it out. They're giving it some thought and like maybe they have been communicating better. But like when if I don't really see change about it or maybe a more open mind, then that's a hard call. I don't know if I can give you that. I don't think I have an answer
Yeah. Yeah, I
because
guess it's situational then, right?
yeah, because like I know I know what I would say now after like after figuring something out about somebody, I know what I would say now, and that is like no, because like
Mm-hmm.
like I know this person has a lot of work, as we all do, but like to have a healthy relationship has a lot of work to do.
Right.
So, I shouldn't be the crutch of that
Yeah.
in a sense,
Right.
like it's good to heal and grow with each other 100%, but you shouldn't be
Mm-hmm.
somebody's crutch or you shouldn't have to fix them.
Yeah,
That's
like
not what a relationship is.
you shouldn't be that learning stepping stone that somebody else is gonna have to learn through you to move on into
Yeah,
another
see,
relationship for it to be fixed,
yeah,
right?
and that
Is that what you're saying?
yeah, that like cuz like that's kind of what that's pretty much what I'm saying like I feel like through
Mm-hmm.
it because it's like
Mm-hmm.
one I'm like okay, well why did it have to be me that was the fucking learning stepping stone,
Right,
cuz
right,
like there was
right.
a lot more than just that relationship at risk.
Mm-hmm.
Um and like it's just tough, kind of thinking like fuck, some other dude gets to enjoy.
What I wanted to.
Yeah. And why couldn't that person see it with me? You know what I mean? You kind of have those
Yeah,
thoughts and you're
yeah.
like, fuck, that's a hard pill to swallow. Like,
It really is. This is why I think that what you were saying, where I think we were saying it pre recording here, how people all yearn for a relationship, right? They all want a
yeah,
partner. Plus, there's that stigma of, and we can get into it here in a second,
yeah.
of they have to be in a relationship,
Or they can't be
or
happy.
they can't be
Yeah,
happy, or they're not respected amongst their peers, or
yeah.
whatever. Just like I
Bullshit.
had told you about my foreman, right? Giving me a bunch of shit, for still me and another coworker still being single and just enjoying our lives. Like, there's that pressure essentially,
Mm.
and that's what I don't think there is enough. There's not enough pressure on the dating. side of everything.
No, there
Like,
isn't. It
you
feels too
know,
easy.
it feels like everybody's like, oh, we bond, we hung out a couple times, okay, we're official. 3 months later, okay, now we're living with each other. It's like you don't even know
You
them yet.
don't like that, and that's the thing too, is when people say, "Oh, like, we've been together so long," and I'm like, "Oh, how long? A year?" I'm like, uh-uh.
But they've been living for 8 months, and
Yeah.
half of the time they fight.
See, that's the thing, and I'm like, I don't even mind the fighting so much. Like, you're going to fight, you're going to have awkward days, you're going to have
Right,
boring days. It's like I
right.
relate, it's what makes a relationship fundamental in a sense of like you're human and you're going to do these things and experience these things. It's kind of how you handle it a little bit more. Like, if you're fighting every day, that's not healthy. Like, if they're big fights all the time, that's not
That's what,
healthy.
that's what I'm saying. Like, you guys should be arguing about whether or not you fucked up and got apples instead of oranges type of fight. And it
Some
should,
silly little bullshit. Not, were
that's
you with
totally,
Rachel last night?
or it turning into, I need you to communicate with me this way. I'm not getting what I need from
Yeah,
you
no, you
because
need to
you're
have
not
a
explaining.
mature
Like,
conversation.
well, if every argument goes in that direction every time, if it just ends up turning, it starts with an apple but turns into how you're not communicating with it properly, then I think there's a deeper problem
It's
than
communication.
just maybe hearing apple instead of orange or banana instead of apple,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I
I
was and what brought this up is, while you were talking about it, so I watched this show called The Unicorn. They have season 1 on Netflix.
Okay.
We're getting, that's a paid promotion, so don't worry.
Okay.
um, but there was this episode where Delia, we don't even need to give them names because I don't want to give you backstories, but this one couple was in a little bit of a fight, and this other couple saw them fighting, and the wife of the couple viewing the argument between this other couple was also kind of in cahoots, or kind of arguing, or scared of arguing with her partner. And the next day happens, and the lady that was viewing the argument of this other couple, she asked the wife and was like, hey, how did you guys do that? Like, you guys totally just fought, how are you still not mad? And she's like, wait, we fought? Like, she totally forgot about the argument because it wasn't even that big of a deal, although
Yeah.
it looked like a big deal to the couple looking into that relationship. And she's like, oh no, we just fucking talk about it, we get it off our chest because we have to, or we're gonna bottle it up,
Communication is fucking key. Like, that
and then
is,
we move the fuck on.
yeah,
And
that's all there is to it.
yeah, and then funny enough, she goes back home, talks to her husband, they fucking fight and yell at each other for like 3 minutes, and then they go and fuck. And they're like, wow, that felt much better. Now let's both fucking feel good.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. That's
You
fair.
know?
I wouldn't use sex as duct tape to a
Well, it's not duct tape. They talked about it. They were happy that they
Okay.
talked about it, and now
Okay.
they're
And
just
then
like, oh shit, this
afterwards.
worked. Yeah,
Okay.
now let's fuck. Yeah,
Okay.
and it was like, this is like an older show, like, or not
Yeah, no,
older.
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, like a more, I don't want to say mature because it's like a CBS show or some bullshit, but it's just like, it just goes to show that it's what you argue about. Like, if you're in that 8 month relationship, or you're with that person for a year, and you're out of that year, you've been living together for eight
Yeah.
months with like a month of dating before you move in with each other, you don't know that person. And if you're fighting about apples and oranges within that, who gives a shit? Like, fine, let's do it. But if
Yeah.
we're starting to argue about apples and oranges, and then it leads to a bunch of deeper shit, there's more problems than that. And like you said, you shouldn't have to be that stepping stone. But this is what I'm saying, is there needs to be more pressure on the dating side of aspect, like the getting to know people
100%, 150%.
before fucking doing this shit. People,
No.
because like you said, people just want to be in a fucking relationship, whether it's outside pressure or your own pressure that you build up in your own head.
Yeah, or whether they're ready or not.
Or whether what exactly.
And you
there's
kill
not
two
enough
birds, one
pressure on
stone. Like,
Exactly.
like you hurt, like, that's some sort of too. I realized, and I was just like, just trying to think so positive about it, and just like why would this, somebody can say they're ready, right?
Yeah.
And whatever, and you can fight about that, and you can talk about that.
Yeah.
But then when you look back at the actions, and stuff, especially with communication,
Mhm.
if they weren't ready to communicate all the issues they had with you, then they weren't ready to be in a relationship. That's fucking bottom line. Like,
That's a good way to think about it. Yeah.
no, like that is because like I like firsthand just experienced, like, I just found out things that I never fucking knew and never got to talk about, and was
Mhm.
like, if we communicated, like, if if you communicated this to me, these would not have been issues on your brain or in your mind. You know what I mean?
Oh, there you
Like,
go.
so it was kind of just like, like, communication is an issue in this instance, and you're
Mhm.
not ready to be in a relationship because of that. Now, of course, she saw it very differently. Um,
Of course.
of course, because I I hate when people go, oh, because you know me better than myself. Well, actually, yes, because there are all things that, like, what us as individuals need to realize is there are things that we do that are reflections. Like, we grow up around our family.
Mhm.
We are the biggest reflections of them,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
So there are things that we do that are just daily patterns or have just been ingrained into, like, our behavioral patterns that we don't see as an issue or don't see that could be toxic or a problem. So when
Right.
somebody brings it up to them, they just think, oh, they're fucking wrong. But, like, an outside view sees so much more than you think about yourself. That's why
Mhm.
when somebody says to me, like, theoretically say, like, oh, you're being closed-minded about this. I kind of take a step back and go, okay, am I? Like, like, they're seeing something, a different side, a different perspective that I don't see. Like, think about it. You write a paper and then you need to get it proofread by somebody, right?
Yeah.
Who is
Because you don't
different and has
always
an
see the
outside
problem.
perspective and will
Yeah.
see other
Well said.
problems.
Well said. Yep.
Yep. So I view it like that. Like, so I think, people as individuals need to, like, understand, if, especially in relationships, if your partner is conveying an issue with you, they are seeing a problem that you do not see because you never viewed it as a problem. That does not mean it is not a problem.
Yeah.
Like, it's, it's a whole fucking learning. It's a whole learning curve. Like, it's fucking
Well, there is,
crazy.
and it's nuts because there's this. So, like, obviously, I'm Latino, so
Yeah.
I'm brought up in a little bit of a different culture, but not far off from, like, the Dick and Jane, like, picket white fence family, like
The Western or
the just
fucking,
yeah. But
yeah.
I have seen, my family, when they communicate with each other, like, it can get real loud and look super fucking toxic, but then it's just fine. It's just how they communicate,
Yeah.
even though people probably shouldn't really be yelling at each other, but it's how they were raised and brought up. Like, there's this couple on TikTok. You've seen it. It's this guy. He's, like, from New York, or he's from the East Coast, and he's dating this beautiful blonde girl, and she doesn't seem or sound like she's from, like, let's say, the Bronx, but this guy is, and I mean, he's
Mhm.
another white guy,
Oh
and
yeah,
they
fucking
say he
Tony. Yeah, I know
yep,
exactly what you're talking
well,
about.
he everything he says sounds really fucking aggressive,
Aggressive, yeah.
and his choice of words aren't the greatest. Like,
No.
he always calls her a dumbass, and she's just egging him on for the TikTok,
Yeah.
obviously. But this seemingly looks like his pure response to him or her just poking his or pressing his buttons or whatever. But then I read through the comments, and it's like, oh, this guy's just Italian. This is just how they speak. It's like, sure, this is a reflection of his family, but it doesn't mean that it's okay. And then you get
That's my point.
the comments that are like, oh, I wish I was in this relationship. You could tell he really cares about it. It's like, what are you fucking talking? You just called her a dumbass. What do you mean?
I don't understand it, dude. I literally don't
What
understand
are you
it. I
talking
don't
about?
fucking. There's a literal TikTok of this, like, e-boy fucking little huddy looking motherfucker, generic
Yeah,
fucking
yeah, yeah.
stock image of TikTok boy,
Mhm.
spits on the camera and is like, I own you. Fucking comments just like, oh my god, I wish I was treated like, oh my god,
Yeah,
DMs, like,
yeah.
chicks fucking holding their fucking coochie shaking right now over this dude spitting on them virtually and fucking telling them they own you. Like, man, go get a leash. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, yo,
There's this TikTok that I stitched to one of my TikToks, and it's like this couple,
I
and they're
saw
sitting
it.
there
Yep.
staring at, you saw that one, and I
Yep.
was like, that's
That's
called physical
physical
abuse.
abuse. Yo.
It's like it's like that's exactly what, like, sure, it's okay to get real freaky in the bedroom all you want, but people, I just, like, when I first saw that, I was just like, that was my immediate. I was like, wow, that's really rough,
Yeah,
and
no, it's
I'm not gonna dog on anybody for what they like, because then you got movies like 50 Shades of Blue or Gray or whatever come out, and they basically,
that movie's so fucked up in so many
what are
ways.
you doing? Like, that's much, and that's a little much, and then you get people who assess that situation and are like, oh yeah, and then they're gonna say the typical thing like, oh, this girl was probably beat. It's like, well, in this movie it didn't look like that. It looked like she found this fetish essentially, but maybe his
It
dad was an abuser. I don't
it,
fucking
it
know,
just
bro.
I hate those movies just
Weird.
because it depicts sex in such a bullshit way.
It's so weird.
You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
they're like trying to normalize this like abusive behavior in a sense, and I understand like people
Right.
like what they like, but I feel like people also get the like it's trying to normalize it in a sense. Like people get these fucking ideas that it's like, oh, I'm gonna do this to my partner. It's like no,
Like,
no.
don't get me wrong. I'll become a freak in the sheets, and I'll do some
But he's
spanking.
super controlling in the fucking
Yeah.
entire, and he's super fucking like just dominant and fucked in the entire movie, even outside of the sexual part of things.
Like, he's kind of psycho.
Yeah, because he's had the backstory is he's had a fucked up childhood or some shit. I don't know. Yeah,
Did
he's
you
got like a
watch that
bunch of
movie or read the
scars.
book?
I watched the movie with like not this ex but my last ex, and like I
Yeah.
remember the ending, and he had like scars on his fucking like the chest that no one would like he wouldn't let anyone touch because his
Yeah.
dad abused him.
Oh.
Yeah.
But then you get the girls who go watch this movie or read the book, and they start just fantasizing about it, and they just wish they had a guy like that.
I just like I
You
don't
know?
because like there's been times where it's like I haven't been in a relationship with a girl, but like it almost she makes me feel weird for treating her with respect, and that feels weird coming out of my mouth.
Yeah, it's
But
like, oh
you
my gosh, I haven't had a guy who actually respected me and listened to me like this.
or
You,
if I'm overly nice, I'll get ghosted.
yeah,
Like
like girls want, or some of the girls now, they want the fucking badass type who
you're gonna treat them like shit.
is gonna, yeah,
So it's
uh,
really confusing. Like this
uh,
generation of dating is so confusing. Of
yeah,
like, one, people suck at communicating what they actually fucking want.
yeah.
They're terrible at it.
I
All
think with my, go ahead, I'm sorry.
sorry, I'll admit, I like I've had some of the same issues, but like usually, if I want something done or there is an issue, I will fucking speak up about it. Like
Mhm.
in a relationship, especially, like because if it'll just sit longer and it'll just that could be the end of the relationship because I just let it sit there, I let it ball up emotionally, and then that's it,
Right.
right? So like, yeah, just it's so confusing because fucking communicate and what. Why, if we're overly nice, and I know it's not all women, and I know it's not all dudes and people in general, it's just like the fact that there's even girls who will shut you down because you're overly nice is a fucking ridiculous concept of like treating them like a fucking human.
Mm-hmm.
Like, bro, like, what do you want? You want to go for a
And
walk at the doggy park? Come on.
what's crazy is, like, I think that's where my generation differs a little bit, because, like, sure, back when I was in high school, a lot of these girls, they wanted the mysterious badass types,
But it was more
who,
chivalry was alive a
but
little bit
now,
more.
these women that are, in my generation, that's what they want. They want a guy who's gonna always open the door for them, or
Yeah.
because, not because these men should open the door. It doesn't really matter, but it's just the act of, like, oh hey babe, like,
It's a
let me
nice
open this door for
gesture.
you. It's a great gesture, and
Yeah.
I'm totally okay with it. And I'm glad that, you know gals in my generation seemingly grew out of that, because now I see a lot of these girls who were in that I went to high school with. Now they seem like they're in great relationships,
Yeah, no, that's
and they
awesome.
have a great partner, and they have kids, and they're building a family, and it's great to see. Um, but yeah, I think that's where our generations differ, because I'll see the same stuff on TikTok, and I'm like, you know, maybe I'm not the best at fucking communicating. I'll admit that. You know, I have a lot of faults, just like any regular person would.
Anybody, yeah.
But at least I recognize my faults, and I don't want to put anybody else through my
That's the
bullshit.
thing, yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's a big one, is that I don't think people actually, they're either blind to it or not willing to recognize it, and yet they'll
Right.
still throw somebody kind of in that you know, that stepping stone, I guess.
Mhm. Yeah.
So,
Yep.
yeah, I don't know. We're in the fucking, we're in the goddamn what over the past over the past 2 weeks, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
also, if you're breaking up with somebody, tell them the fucking truth. Don't bullshit it because you're fucking guilty. By the
Yeah.
way, God,
Yep.
I hate
I'm
that.
with-
Like, if you're gonna end things, one, have a good fucking reason.
Mhm.
Because if your reasonings are more excuses or you're not willing to change, okay, well, say that. Say you're not willing to change.
Right.
You know what I mean? Don't sugarcoat it by saying, well, there was this, that, and the other that I never brought up and never brought to your attention, and, you know, that's why things aren't. Well, no, that's not how it works.
Mhm.
That's not how it works. Those are things you get through in a relationship, not the reasons you end a relationship. So, number one piss off is getting an excuse. You know, that person deserves proper closure.
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
No,
that one got a little.
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. No, I think your honesty and vulnerability, I think, is gonna. I don't know. I think the passion in your voice is gonna, at least, because I think in our analytics, we have a lot of younger.
We do.
Kids who watch, which is great, and we fucking love all of the support that we get from them. But I think this might be more of a learning lesson.
In a sense,
Than
yeah,
anything.
100%.
They're the ones growing up with TikTok
In this
and Instagram,
generation,
you know,
yeah.
whereas you kind of did too, but you were just a little ahead of it.
Yeah.
And you also have you have great parents. Your mother is fucking an angel. She's a saint, and so you know, you have somebody great kind of showing you the road, paving the road kind of for you to a successful, not necessarily relationship, just a successful and fair livelihood, I guess.
For sure, I definitely agree with
know?
that. But like with her, and I really respect her for this, she'll give me little bits of her opinion.
Yeah.
And because she knows at the end of the day, like, I'm an adult and I'm pretty stubborn,
Mhm.
like when it comes to some things, and I'm gonna make the choices I want to make. And she always says that and always respects that. It's like, you're an adult, you will make the choices that you are going to make. But she also just lets me make them without saying anything. Lets me learn for myself. Like, there has definitely been that guidance and like the right, like, you know, this is how you should treat your partner. And like, you know, she never says they're perfect or anything, but like the bare minimum of respect, loyalty, communication, you know, that kind of thing. Like, I think that's bare minimum in a relationship. And, you know, she guided me that way properly, but she lets me make my own mistakes so that I can learn. You know?
Oh yeah.
It's kind of like, man, I'm gonna be like that when I'm a parent, because I find lots of parents, and this is no like fucking diss against anyone's parents, but I've known friends' parents, and I known lots of parents too, kind of give advice when their kid wasn't looking for advice, or their young adult son or daughter or whoever person wasn't looking for advice. They kind of just needed comfort while going through the journey they were going through. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So like, I'm very fucking lucky in that sense that I always have somebody to fall back onto, and who's never going to say, well, you should have did this instead. No, you learn from the situation, you know, kind of different answers.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and it's like, and not even talking about relationships, but just learning as a kid, as a Latino kid, when my parents say, don't do this or you're gonna fall, and I go and fucking do it, and I fall and I hurt myself, and they say, I told you. I mean, I'm never gonna do it again.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, because I don't want to fucking hurt myself. But I don't know. It just is a little bit different from the white picket fence family, and I'm not saying that yours is, but
yeah, no, I totally understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas my parents were kind of like, you know, just depending, very situational, but
Mhm.
like even if it was like something dangerous, like jumping off of something or like dirt biking or like there's like, okay, do it and you'll figure it out the hard way.
Yeah.
And because you figured it out the hard way, you probably won't do it again and you'll know how to prevent it. Not because
Yeah.
I told you so, but because you did it.
Exactly.
You went through the whole process.
Yep.
So it's kind of,
Absolutely.
yeah, it's very, it's crazy, you know, it's just crazy things to think about of like, shit, like, you know, you don't even think about it. Like I didn't even think about it until like I was 20 that my parents just, they let me do my thing. They let me make my mistakes.
Yeah.
And
They kind of gave you a base foundation,
yeah.
and then they kind of set you on your way. And we don't want to make anybody feel bad, because we unfortunately know that there are a bunch of fucked up families out there, or people in
need,
bad
yeah.
situations or have gone through bad situations. But we don't want to sound like we're preaching
God,
down
no.
to you or talking down
Fuck
to you.
no.
We're just two dudes fucking talking about shit that we've gone through and how we've handled them. And if you want to take anything from this, then by all means take something from it. But we don't think any less of you. If you're listening to this podcast or you stumble upon us, you're probably doing just fine, regardless of the shit that you're probably going through.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, we're happy that you're fucking hearing us out and maybe giving us a chance. But just know that we are not, we do not want to talk down to anybody or make anybody feel less than they feel or whatever, you know?
Fuck no. If there's anything to take from this podcast, or this episode, more just, you can use this in like any relationship. Like friendship is a big thing too that I think people fuck up pretty badly. You know, it's a lot easier to because there's a lot less restrictions. But just communication, you know, just be a good person. And just communicate. Like, I swear to God, that is the fucking key. I'm not saying it is the answer, but I'm literally saying it is the key.
Like, it really is. It for sure is.
Yeah, people can't read your mind. You just keep that in mind. And be fucking patient. Be patient with people. Patience goes a long way in any relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Holy fuck, we're at time.
Yo, we are, dude. Fucking... I don't know, dude. If anybody's listening, real quick, I will say, if anybody's listening to this and they kind of like what they're hearing, they kind of like with the vibe, we talk about all kinds of things. This just happened to be the episode where we talk about relationships and stuff. But we don't like to sit there, although it's really entertaining to talk about, oh, you know, did you know that why a fly is called a fly? Or you know, like we'll talk about weird shit and we'll get into conspiracies and all in politics if we wanted to, but we just kind of just want to talk and hang out. So if you vibe with it and you fuck with it, check out our other episodes. I don't mean to kind of slip this in, but I mean, we have to, you know, we're also we want a successful podcast. So
come on,
if you like it, subscribe to our YouTube, hit that follow button on TikTok, and the floor is yours now, Hyland.
Yeah. So basically what James is saying, he said it really nicely, but I'm going to say it like, I'm going to tell you how it is, because communication. I'm just kidding.
Lay it down, boy.
If you don't subscribe, you're a chode. All right. Chode. If you don't you'll have 37 years of bad life, you know,
bad fucking life,
bad, terrible life. Like you'll wake up with shit in your pants every day. Disgusting. Disgusting. You'll have great value barbecue sauce. You know that it doesn't taste that bad.
Not that bad.
Anyways.
Shut the all right, go ahead.
Okay. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. You know, turn the little noti bell on, the thing that go ding. And yeah, we guys hope you had a fucking great day, night, whatever it is. It's something somewhere. Peace, chodes.